The latest release of CRED version 1.4 includes support for user forms. This gives you the ability to build custom registration forms for your own sites within Toolset. Now, I've just implemented the new functionality on a site I'm building, and here's a brief overview of how it works. If we head over to the WP dashboard, we can see that there's a couple of new options within the CRED menu, and these give us access to our user forms. Now, I've created a couple of user forms already. And one thing to note here is that we can see the role for the user forms. Now, it's important to realize that when you're creating a registration form or a create user form, that user will always have a role specified. So in this case, we'll be creating users with role owner. For our edit form, we can select which roles we want to be able to edit the form. And in this case, we're allowing administrator and owner to edit the form. So let's jump in and create our first registration form. And this is going to be for subscribers visiting our site. So we're going to call this subscriber registration. Now we want it to create a user, and as we mentioned before, we can select the single role for this user on the site. So in this case, it's going to be a subscriber. The owner role is a role that we've added. It's a custom role that we've added using Access. So CRED is picking up any custom roles that we've added to the site. So let's select our subscriber. Now, what we actually want to do after visitors submit this form is to log them on automatically and go to a page. But we can't do that with CRED. So we'll just say keep displaying this form, and we'll talk about this at the end of the process. We're going to auto-generate our user form, and here we have some new options available. We can let CRED auto-generate the username, the nickname, and the password. Obviously there's many cases where you won't want to do this, but this is for users subscribing to the site. We don't want to capture much information, and we don't want to overload them with loads of fields on the form. So we will let CRED auto-generate these values for us. Now, if you wanted to use reCAPTCHA, then you need to have set it up in the CRED settings. So we'll just insert our form fields, and this is sort of what we'd expect. So we have our email address, our first name and our last name, and in addition we have this field here, our Facebook ID. Now the Facebook ID field is interesting. If we go and look at our types user fields, then you can see that we've created two groups of custom user fields. We've created owner fields and user social fields. Now if we go and look at owner fields, we can see that this group is only going to be displayed for users with a role of owner. So as we would expect, it's not showing up on our subscriber form. So now if we go and look at our social fields, then we can see that this is to be displayed for all user roles. And that's why it's being included in our auto-generate for our CRED form. This is really handy. So we can create all of our types, custom fields that we want for our user form with types before we create the CRED form, and they'll all be added using the auto-generate. And also, because they're role specific, you can choose which of the fields are going to be available for which of the users when they register. So we'll hit next, and now we'll add our notifications. Now for the default WordPress registration form, two emails are generated, one to the admin informing them that a new user is registered on the site, and the other to the user with their username and password and any other information. So let's add our first notification. We're going to send this when a new user is created by the form, and we're going to send it to an email specified in the form field, which is going to be our user email. We'll add their first and last name as well. We'll work on them. and then we'll just send them their credentials. So username and password. Now, of course, you probably want to add a link to the site and other information here. So now we'll add our second notification. Again, when a new user is credited by the form. Now, it's a shame there's no option here to be able to send to the email address in our general settings for the site, but we'll send it to a specific email address. So this is going to go to me. And we can just give it a title. And here we'll just say a new user. Then we'll use the user login name as registered on the site. Okay, and that's it. So we've exited the wizard, and now we'll just update to save our form. Okay, so now we'll create a new page, and we'll call this register. We'll put in brackets subscriber so we know which one it is. Subscriber. We'll insert our CRED form, so it's a new user form, and it's called subscriber registration, and we'll insert our shortcode. Okay, and we'll publish that. So now we'll go view our page, and let's just enter the user details. So my name, and we'll submit the form. Okay, so that seems to have worked. Our user's been saved. We've not told CRED what to do now. We've said stay on the form. So now we just need to go and get our credentials from our email. Okay, and so here's the email to our user. We've got our username Simon and our password. So let's just copy that. We'll go back to our site, and we'll try and log in with these credentials. And that seems to have worked okay. So we're now logged in, hopefully as a subscriber. And this is the account that we created. So let's log out. Okay, so if we log in and look at our dashboard, our users will see that our new subscriber has been created. And we can see our username, our nickname was automatically generated by CRED, as was our public name. But of course the big power with this is that we have the flexibility of types to create new user fields that we can use to extend our user profiles. There's just one more thing I'm going to go through in this video, and that's to explain that there is a way around the fact that our user's not logged in. But it does require a little bit of PHP to achieve it. So I've created a gist, which I'll add the link to in the comments for this video. But basically, you can use the user register hook to automatically log in a new user. So what we're doing here is when the form's completed and the user submits the registration form, this action will be triggered, and we'll set the current user ID and the authorization cookie for that user. This is actually a redirect that I've set up for our owner type user. So basically this is checking that the form ID, the CRED form ID, is present, and that form ID is equal to our owner registration form. If it's equal to our owner registration form, we'll set our URL to owner area. If not, we'll set it to our home page, and then we'll redirect the user before we exit. So this will log in the user and send control to the page of your choice. Now you need to just add this code to your functions PHP in your theme. Aside from the auto login issue, which I'm fairly sure will be resolved in an upcoming version, this is pretty cool stuff. We can fully extend our user profiles, and we can create user registration forms without coding any additional PHP or adding new plugins to our sites. Once the power of CRED Commerce is added into this so that we can allow users to register and then bill them as part of the registration process, then this is a really powerful tool for making membership sites and any sites where you want to charge users to register with the site.